On a spring morning, as sunlight streamed through the window, I was in the kitchen as I am every morning. A fresh breeze rustled the white lace curtains, and I could see cherry blossom petals dancing in the garden. It's been 5 years since we moved into this house. This white residence in Newton's upscale neighborhood has become a dream home for our family. Mom, what's for breakfast? Amy's voice rang out along with the sound of footsteps running down the stairs. My 7-year-old daughter wore her private Beaver Country Day school uniform, her golden hair braided, and her large blue eyes sparkled with anticipation. It's special this morning. I'm making pancakes, I said. Amy smiled happily at my words. The table was already set with fruit, yogurt, and organic maple syrup. Making an elaborate breakfast on a regular day was actually my small way of showing appreciation for my husband, Mark. Good morning, Melissa. Hearing a voice behind me, I turned to find Mark standing there in his perfectly pressed suit. As an investment banker at Goldman Sachs, my husband is always well prepared early in the morning. Standing 5 feet 11 inches tall, with black hair and an intellectual air about him, he still makes my heart flutter. What a feast this morning. Mark wrapped his arm around my waist and kissed my cheek. But you don't need to go to such trouble first thing in the morning. It's fine. Isn't it nice to have a special breakfast sometimes? I tucked my long brown hair behind my ear as I plated the pancakes. My 5 feet 6 inches height and modest demeanor are assets in my work as a real estate agent. Originally from Texas, I started working in real estate here after graduating from Boston University. Now I earn $80,000 a year and take pride in my work. Having breakfast together as a family of 3 is our precious daily ritual. Amy cheerfully talks about her piano and ballet lessons while Mark listens attentively. Though he's a successful banker earning over $300,000 a year, he's a good husband and father who values family time. Sometimes I wonder why he, with his Harvard MBA and from a prestigious Boston family, chose an ordinary woman like me. 2014, at a Boston real estate exhibition, that's where we met. He came looking for luxury properties, and I was the agent who assisted him. What started as a purely business relationship evolved as I gradually opened my heart to Mark's sincere character and his family values. When we decided to marry after 6 months of dating, the only obstacle was his mother, Betty. Betty Wilson, a former high school teacher, is an influential woman in Boston's upper society. Even after losing her husband 3 years ago, her perfectionist and controlling nature remained unchanged. Though she initially strongly opposed our marriage, she appeared to accept it on the surface. She still lives in an upscale neighborhood just a 15-minute drive away and frequently checks on the family. Mom, Grandma's on the phone. Amy brought my cell phone while I was cleaning up after breakfast. It's Betty's daily morning call. Though her desire for a perfect family sometimes feels burdensome, I accept it as part of our family dynamic. Melissa, I'll take care of picking up and dropping off Amy at piano lessons this afternoon, Betty announced in her usual authoritative voice. My education-enthusiastic mother-in-law is actively involved in Amy's extracurricular activities. From how we spend weekends at the country club to dinner menu suggestions, she subtly gives instructions. My husband has already left for the office, and Amy boarded the school bus. As I prepare for work, I'm grateful for these peaceful days. Real estate work, housework, child rearing, it might be difficult to handle everything perfectly. But I take secret pride in doing my best for my family, making use of my outgoing personality and cooking skills. In the soft spring sunlight, cherry blossom petals continue to dance in our White House's garden. Hoping these happy days would last forever, I headed off to work. 7 a.m. In the kitchen filled with spring sunlight, I was preparing breakfast as usual. The bread dough I had prepared the night before was browning nicely in the oven, its fragrant aroma spreading throughout the house. "You're early again," Mark's voice came from behind as he started making my coffee as usual. "You've been looking pale lately. Are you all right?" "Yes, just tired," I smiled as I answered, but truthfully, I hadn't been feeling well for about 3 months. Morning dizziness and nausea, headaches that strike in the afternoon, and constant fatigue. Despite multiple hospital visits, the cause remained unidentified. "Mom, are you feeling unwell again today?" Worry seeped through Amy's voice as she came down the stairs. In her school uniform, my daughter had recently started paying attention to my condition. Like the good student she is, she gets up early to prepare herself and never forgets her homework. But I've noticed her bright smile appearing less frequently lately. "I'm fine, don't worry." As we sat down for breakfast, Mark placed coffee in front of us. "Orange juice for Amy." It's our usual morning scene. But lately, my appetite has decreased, and I can barely manage to eat a single slice of bread. During breakfast, Betty's phone call came as expected. "Melissa, I'll take Amy to her piano lesson today. Don't you think you should rest a bit?" There was concern mixed in Betty's voice. Indeed, my condition had started affecting my work. As a real estate agent specializing in luxury properties, I need to be in top condition. With a strong client trust base and excellent performance record, this health issue was becoming a significant problem. "Thank you, Betty. But I'm fine." After hanging up, Mark looked at me worriedly. "Are you sure you're okay? Maybe you should try another hospital." Though I nodded at my husband's words, I remembered that I had already visited multiple hospitals. Blood tests, MRIs, various examinations, but no doctor could identify a clear cause. At the office, I could feel my colleagues' concerned glances. Once energetically showing properties with a high closing rate, lately, I've been leaving early more often due to severe headaches in the afternoons. "Mrs. Wilson, are you really okay?" My colleague Jane brought me coffee. "Don't push yourself too hard." I returned a grateful smile, but I could feel my hands trembling as I reached for my desk. Sometimes the letters on the computer screen seemed to dance before my eyes. In the afternoon, there was a call from Amy's school. "We're a bit concerned about your daughter lately." Her teacher's voice was filled with concern. "She often seems distracted during class and spends more time alone during breaks." Hearing those words, I felt my chest tighten. My usually bright and active daughter had indeed been less energetic lately. Even her piano and ballet instructors had increasingly noted that her concentration has decreased. Twice a week, Betty helps with taking Amy to and from her lessons. Each time, my mother-in-law expresses concern about my health and offers to help with housework and childcare. In the evening, Amy returned home and gently held my hand. "Mom, please get better soon." That pure wish struck me deeply. But my anxiety only grew as my condition worsened day by day. The dizziness and nausea were no longer just in the mornings but continued all day, sometimes making it difficult even to stand. I could no longer taste food and lost the energy to cook. Kitchen work, which I once enjoyed doing for my family's smiles, was now often replaced with side dishes prepared by my mother-in-law. "Have you thought about taking a leave of absence?" One night, Mark suggested this. Indeed, it might be an option. But would this unexplained illness be resolved just by taking time off? Outside the window, the spring evening breeze scattered cherry blossom petals. I remembered how last year around this time, we went cherry blossom viewing as a family. Those happy days now seemed like distant memories. That day too began like any other morning. However, struck by stronger nausea and dizziness than usual, I dropped my coffee cup at the breakfast table. "Melissa." Mark rushed to support me. "You should take the day off work." Amy watched me with a worried expression. "Mom. I'm fine. It's just morning sickness." I smiled, but deep concern was reflected in my daughter's blue eyes. That afternoon, the phone suddenly rang. "Mrs. Wilson. This is Newton Police Department." For a moment, I felt my heart stop. "Your daughter is here crying, begging us to arrest her father." At those words, my mind went blank. "Amy, at the police?" "Yes." She ran away from school and came to the nearby police station. With trembling hands, I grabbed my car keys and immediately headed to the police station. As I rushed out of the office, I heard my colleagues' worried voices behind me, but that was the least of my concerns. At the police station, Amy's teacher, Ms. Brown, was also there. The school had been notified as well. "Mrs. Wilson, I'm so sorry." Amy begged to leave early during break time. But as teachers, we couldn't make such a decision. Then, I saw Amy at the end of the hallway. My daughter ran to me, sobbing. Her small body was trembling. "Mom, I'm sorry, but I couldn't take it anymore." I held my daughter, still confused and unable to understand what was happening. "Amy, why did you go to the police?" "Asking them to arrest Dad." At that moment, the police station door opened, and Mark rushed in, looking flustered. Betty was behind him. "What's going on here?" Mark's voice mixed anger and anxiety. The police officers guided our family to separate rooms, and the questioning began. In the dim interrogation room, I clasped my trembling hands in my lap. "Your daughter has given very specific testimony about your health issues," the female police officer spoke in a quiet voice. From the next room, Mark's voice of fierce denial could be heard. "This must be some mistake." It's impossible that I would harm my wife. Meanwhile, Betty's response was surprisingly calm. There was even an unnatural composure, as if she fully grasped the situation. Mom might die. Amy's trembling voice came from another room. Those words sent chills down my spine. Your daughter rushed into the police box in a panic right after a safety education class, the officer continued. It's unusual behavior for a 7-year-old, but her testimony is very specific and consistent. In my mind, past events began racing through like a film reel. The unexplained illness, the morning coffee Mark prepared, Betty's excessive interference, and the changes in Amy's behavior. All the dots were slowly connecting. But the conclusion was too difficult for me to accept. Based on your daughter's testimony, we will now conduct a search of your home. The officer's voice seemed to come from far away. Outside the window, the spring sun was beginning to set. The peaceful daily life from just a few hours ago now felt like a distant past. The interrogation room door opened, and another police officer entered. He was holding some documents. Mrs. Wilson, your daughter testified that there's a bottle of white powder in Dad's desk drawer. She also said that Grandma brings a new bottle once a week. At those words, memories suddenly became crystal clear. Indeed, Betty would visit every Friday without fail, and she and Mark would seclude themselves in the study. I had assumed they were discussing business. Also, the officer continued, carefully choosing his words. Your daughter testified that she witnessed her father putting something in your coffee. My hands began to shake. The coffee Mark prepared for me every morning. At first, I thought it was sweet thoughtfulness. But I always started feeling ill after drinking that coffee. From the hallway, I could hear Mark's voice with the police officers. We already have a warrant. We're going to search your house now. And Betty's calm voice, I have nothing to do with this. It's just caregiver fatigue. I sat frozen in my chair, unable to move. My beloved husband and his mother. And my 7-year-old daughter who had seen through it all. Everything seemed to press down on my heart at once. In the small meeting room at the police station, Amy began telling the truth in a trembling voice. The female officer spoke to her gently, while I quietly listened beside my daughter. I couldn't tell Mom. Amy continued, clutching her small hands. Because Grandma bragged about checking all the house phones. She said she checks Dad's cell phone too. I caught my breath at those words. Indeed, recently Betty had been calling right after I received calls from friends. I couldn't tell the teacher either. Tears welled up in Amy's blue eyes. Because I saw her always talking with Grandma, being friendly. I couldn't trust her. The officer nodded quietly while recording Amy's testimony. Dad put white powder in Mom's coffee every morning, Amy continued in a shaking voice. I didn't notice at first, but one morning I woke up early and saw Dad putting powder from a small bottle in the kitchen. Then Amy gave the decisive testimony. On Friday nights, Grandma brings a new bottle. I watched through the study door crack when she talked with Dad. Grandma said, "This will work well." From the next interrogation room, Mark's voice could be heard. His initial defiant attitude had disappeared, and now he was beginning to confess everything in an exhausted voice. I couldn't refuse my mother. Those words tore my heart to pieces. She said she wanted to protect the family's status by eliminating Melissa. I opposed it at first. But Mother said, "This won't kill her, she'll just get sick and return to her family home." Meanwhile, the police were searching our home. Multiple small bottles were found in the study, and coffee residue samples were collected from the kitchen. Furthermore, at Betty's home, they discovered notebooks detailing correspondence with a pharmacist friend and detailed plans. The most shocking was the writing about Amy. There were even meticulous plans for obtaining custody of my granddaughter after Melissa returns home. Betty maintained her composure until the end but had to give in to the evidence. That girl wasn't worthy of my son. She was lowering our family's status. Those words revealed her twisted maternal love and desire for control. That evening, Mark and Betty were arrested. Blood tests detected traces of arsenic in my body. It was an attempted murder by poisoning over 6 months. If Amy hadn't run to the police, I would surely have lost my life. I thought the police wouldn't let Dad and Grandma hide the evidence. Such judgment from a 7-year-old. It came from her pure desire to protect her beloved mother. The following weeks felt like being in a storm. Media coverage, police statements, hospital treatment. However, as the poison began leaving my body, my health recovered surprisingly quickly. 6 months after the incident, our lives began taking shape in a new place. We moved from the white mansion in Chestnut Hill to a quiet residential area in Brookline, where we now live peacefully in a small house with a garden. "Mom, shall we bake cookies today?" On a Saturday morning, Amy poked her head into the kitchen. Instead of her former braids, her golden hair now swings at shoulder length. When she got her haircut at the salon, she proudly said it was the new me. "Sure, what kind would you like?" "Chocolate chip." "Can Jessica and Emma come over?" The names of her new school friends warm my heart. Right after moving, I was worried about Amy. At her previous school, she had become unable to open up to anyone due to her distrust of teachers who were friendly with Grandma. But with the support of her counselor, she gradually began opening her heart. We still continue weekly therapy sessions. Trauma recovery takes time. But Amy is showing remarkable resilience, the therapist assured me. I've changed too. As the poison left my body and I regained my health, my heart grew stronger as well. Through domestic violence victim support groups, I met others with similar experiences, and that circle has gradually expanded. Your story with Amy will surely give courage to many people. Susan, who runs the group, said this while embracing my shoulders. Now I speak about my experience once a month in front of new participants. While it involves digging up painful memories, it's also healing. Work is going well too. A real estate company that valued my previous track record hired me, and I'm carefully building trust relationships with clients. My reputation as a capable sales agent remains intact, and my closing rate is actually higher than before. Melissa, how about brunch at my place next Sunday? My colleague Jane invited me. She's one of the people who helped us move, and now she's become a close friend with whom we spend weekends together as families. At night, Amy sometimes knocks on my bedroom door. When she says, "I had a scary dream," in a trembling voice, I don't hesitate to let her sleep next to me. But even these nights have gradually become less frequent. The other day, she wrote an essay for school with the theme, My Pride. Amy chose without hesitation to write about my mother. My mom is my pride because she keeps moving forward no matter how hard things get. At those words, I couldn't help but hug my daughter tightly. Letters from Mark and Betty are all discarded through our lawyer. We've kept our new address, workplace, and Amy's school completely secret. Though it was painful to cut ties with the past, it was necessary for our new life. Sunday mornings, tending to the small herb garden in our yard has become my routine. While surrounded by the fragrance of thyme, basil, and rosemary, working the soil feels like we're cultivating our hearts too. Sometimes Amy helps me. "Mom, this seedling has grown so much." As we exchange such conversations, perhaps we're growing together. In the kitchen, I can now brew coffee without fear. The sound of grinding beans, the steam when pouring hot water, the aroma spreading in the cup, these have become our new morning happiness ritual. "Mom, today's going to be another good day." At the breakfast table, Amy smiled as she said this. The morning light streaming through the window gently illuminates her golden hair. Yes, our new life is surely moving forward with steady steps.